Hi gang, second part of our basic life support and first aid training. Dr. ABC. D stands for danger. R stands for response. A stands for airway. B stands for breathing. C stands for CPR. We'll go through each section and chat about it briefly. D is for danger. Before you offer help, stop and look around for any dangers. As we mentioned earlier, what we don't want is to add to the casualty list. And certainly, as you're doing a good deed, what you don't want to be is now part of the incident. So what you want to do is to make sure there is no danger that's going to affect you. As you can see in this picture, this gentleman has his hand on a drill and the drill's still plugged into the electrical socket. So it's safe to assume he's been electrocuted. So before we deal with the casualty, we have to make sure that we don't get electrocuted. Because as you all know, I'm sure you all do, that the human body is a conductor of electricity. So you must turn off the main power first. Now again, if there's a fire, you must make sure that you're safe. And if you're able to, and safely, pull the person away from danger before you start doing any type of first aid, CPR. If they're in the middle of a road, make sure there is no heavy traffic or any traffic at all. You don't want to get hit by a car. If there's broken glass on the floor, make sure the glass is moved out the way. You don't want to cut yourself or lacerate yourself or injure your casualty further. Shout for help. If you're unable or you don't have a mobile phone, shout as loud as you can to see if someone will come and help. Now, if you're in a setting like we are in London, there may be lots of people walking by. If you're in a rural setting, it might be very difficult to get someone to hear you if you're in the woods. But if you're able to, you've got to go and get help first. Because if you start something like CPR, you've got to continue doing it until help comes. So unless you've called for help and someone knows where you are and what's happening, help's never going to come. And you could be doing CPR until you collapse. So always make sure you get some help. Shout to someone. Normally someone in London has a phone. They can help. R is for response. Now the area is safe. You can go to the casualty and check to see how they are. If they're talking to you, then you know that they're breathing and they're responding to you, which is obviously a good sign. What we want to do is to make sure that there are no other injuries, and if there's anything that you can help them with. R is still for response. However, if they're not talking to you, you can gently shake their shoulders and ask them loudly, "Are you all right?" Now, I normally advise all our adventurers, especially in London, in parks, on a summer's day, if someone's lying on the ground, they could be asleep, could be sunbathing, could have had a few drinks, could have a very deep sleep. And if you do shake someone by the shoulders, it might startle them and they might flay their arms and hit you in the face. So I normally try and kick them in the sole of the foot, gently, and shout, "Are you all right?" This normally disturbs them, and if nothing else, they'll move their foot. Then you know that they're conscious at least, and they're breathing. You've got to say it nice and loud, audibly and clearly. One, they may not speak the same language. They may not be able to hear you. There might be all manner of reasons. They could have earphones in. Lots of different things. So make sure you say it loud and clear. You could ask them to open their eyes. "Please speak to me. Let me know you're okay." Anything to grab their attention. A is for airway. Now, if your casualty is not responding to you, now you need to check to see if your casualty is breathing normally. Firstly, you need to open their airway. So we rest our hand on the top of their head, put 2 fingers underneath their chin, and gently raise their chin. So this way, it opens up the airway for them to be able to take oxygen in. We will demonstrate that in a little video afterwards. B is for breathing. Look, listen, feel. 3 senses that you can use to make sure someone's breathing. Look down the chest. Look at yourself breathing now. When you breathe in, the chest rises, doesn't it? When you breathe out, it drops. So look to see if the chest is moving. Also listen to when you're breathing. You can hear a breath being taken in and exhaled. Feel. Let the back of your hand and breathe onto the back of your hand. You can feel the breath. So do all of those 3 things to make sure that they're breathing or not breathing. Now we've decided that they're not breathing. C is for CPR. Cardiopulmonary resuscitation. If your casualty is not breathing normally, you should have already have called 999 and asked for an ambulance. The sooner the ambulance gets there, the more likely they are to survive. The higher percentage it is that they will come through the other side without any complications. The longer it takes, the less likely they are to survive. If your casualty is breathing normally, you should place your casualty in the recovery position. If, however, your casualty is not breathing normally, you must now start CPR. Pause. CPR. We're going to focus upon CPR next, and then we will do a few little demonstrations to show you what it looks like. See you soon.